one of Minecraft's hidden items has been discovered, and of all places, on a server designed to forbid vanilla items, Hypixel Skyblock. The item is such an anomaly that it will most likely never be created again, making it one of the rarest items to ever appear on Hypixel. This is the story about a development mistake and how an exceedingly lucky player was able to create an artifact, both preserving the history of the server and proving understanding of the world we inhabit. The story of an accident so accidental that even when attempting to replicate seems impossible. So how then was this impossible item created? Stick around because all will be revealed, including other items you didn't know were possible within the bounds of Skyblock. So this whole thing starts with one core mechanic of the game. Items are marked with rarities. These rarities help the player distinguish the value of their items, ranging from common to supreme, some even being considered special. Every item, no matter how insignificant, is designed to have a rarity tag, but what if I told you that throughout the game's history there have been several ways of creating purely vanilla items? There are some items with no rarity made with default Minecraft settings instead of being designed by the Skyblock development team. These items, unlike items intended to be in the game, still follow the physics of a Skyblock universe, so tools still won't take durability for instance, but they separate from other items in their appearance. Here you could see a vanilla stick, and if you've ever played Skyblock, you'll notice right away that it's missing the common tag added in the Skyblock lore of the item. Let me explain by giving you a look at some methods. The easiest way to make a stick like the one that I'm holding is to use your 2x2 crafting menu instead of the one built by Skyblock. Since this is a vanilla menu, you get vanilla items. Now, there used to be several things you could do with this, like writing and signing books, but at this point the admins have patched everything. This isn't the only thing to ever come out of vanilla items though. Another crafty technique to get vanilla items was very recently discovered with the Mayor Jerry update. Mayor Jerry made hidden Jerrys appear in front of you while doing pretty much any kind of skill grinding. If you were to grind skills on your private island, you'd find villagers running away from you. Several glitched item collectors trapped these Jerrys and used mods such as Skyblock add-ons to forcibly enter their trade menus, which was also a vanilla menu, lending itself to creating more vanilla items. Some people were even able to figure out that if you click a Jerry with a villager spawn egg, it could create a baby villager that you could then raise to have a chance of getting villagers with other professions like librarian or blacksmith. So now you're caught up with all the current ways vanilla items were obtained, but the story doesn't end there. There are only a few more vanilla items that have been created without these methods, but are unfortunately no longer obtainable. You see, when Skyblock was still a relatively new game mode on the Hypixel network, there was an oversight with fishing mechanics that gave you a chance of fishing up vanilla items every time you cast your rod. As soon as you fish them up, Skyblock automatically converts them to the Skyblock version of the item, auto-assigning rarities. In order to preserve them, some glitchers thought to fish them into hoppers so the item never updates and then would never convert. This brings us to arguably the most important vanilla item that made it possible to create a glitch so rare that Supreme and Special couldn't even come close to describing it. A fished up fishing rod. This is Treox. You may recognize him as the guy who has the only placed bits talisman on the server. He was featured in my one-of-a-kind items video, and since then has continued to work on the largest glitched item museum in the server, which is now even featured on the front page of the island catalog. Well, there's another thing about Treox. He loves fishing. He loves fishing so much that he's even in a guild called Fishy Cult, where everyone is devoted to fishing as much as he is. I guess there's a guild for just about anything these days. Being a glitched item collector, and also an avid fisher, was able to come to a realization that would for the first time on the server make vanilla items useful. If he were to purposefully convert a specific fished up fishing rod to be recognized as a Skyblock item, he would be able to get a casting sprite. Here's a little bit about how the game works. This gets a little technical, but bear with me. In order for the game to understand what sprite to give an item, it has to look through an index of sprites and attach a picture to a value the game gives it. The problem with Skyblock is, there's not always a clear value to fetch a sprite from. In the past, we've taken a look at how other nulls have been created by obtaining values the Skyblock doesn't recognize, But let's take a look at what the fishing rod sprite index looks like. At index 0, there's a fishing rod. At index 1, there's this weird casted sprite texture that was added in version 1.7. Anything above 1 looks like a null texture, which means nothing has been put there by the people who made the game. In Skyblock, it was never intended to get any of these values besides 0, which would make sense because we want a fishing rod to look like a fishing rod. But Treox knew, regardless, that he would be able to get any one of these values using the fished up fishing rods. This is the developmental mistake in Skyblock. When a Minecraft item has an unbreaking tag, which Skyblock uses so items don't break, the value to get an item's sprite is taken from its damage value. Why is this important? Because the vanilla fishing rods that he was able to obtain had damage values. In Minecraft, when you fish up a fishing rod, it isn't just a perfect durability, but comes already mostly broken. The amount of durability an item's lost is its damage value. So let's say I fish up a rod that has durability 48 out of 64. This would mean that if I allow the server to update the item, it would convert automatically into an item named null with damage value 16 because I lost 16 durability. The game would look into the 16th index and look at what sprite would be there. But there aren't 17 sprites for fishing rods present in the game, so it gives a null appearance. You can actually still buy these ones on the auction house. So we talked about that weird casting sprite earlier. That's at index 1, which means all we would need to do to get a fishing rod with the casting sprite would be to find a preserved fishing rod that has 63 out of 64 durability. So when it's converted, it has damage value 1 and looks at the first index where the special sprite is. Of course, Treox, being the crazed fisherman that he is, after realizing that it's possible, went to look at some of his old rare fishing drops that he had preserved. And right there, sitting in plain sight all along in a chest with several other durability rods, was one that had somehow only lost 1 durability. He threw it on the ground to convert it and just obtained one of the most godlike items I think I've ever seen. To say that this is a miracle is an understatement. Even after coming up with this incredibly convoluted method in his head, not even being sure if it would work, he had the exact fishing rod that he needed. The chances of casting a fishing rod in vanilla Minecraft fishing is already only 0.8%. He was able to catch several of these, all into hoppers to preserve them, and then out of those was able to get one with an incredibly specific durability. The fact that it's not possible to fish up vanilla items anymore, in addition to the fact that hardly any of these exist besides his own supply, makes it incredibly unlikely that another one of these will ever be created again. This makes Treox both one of the most big-brained, but also one of the luckiest players of all time, as he now owns 2 one-of-a-kind items. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please help put my video in with mainstream Skyblock content by liking the video, and if you haven't already, we are coming up on 10,000 subscribers, so now's your last chance to claim your Here Before 10K ticket. Of course, there's a printable certificate in the description. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, take care guys.